Almost every time you've added a control in this course, you've changed its ID property instead of leaving it at the default value. Using consistent names for your controls is one of the most important things to do when working with C# or ASP.NET. Whenever you create a control, you should always set its ID property to something meaningful before doing anything else with it. In this lesson, you'll create a number of controls and set their ID properties according to the naming convention used by this course. To begin, open the My Project sample file from your Sample Files folder. And add a new web form to the project called namingtest.aspx. You learned how to add new pages to projects in Lesson 1.7. Now switch to Design View and add a label control to the page. You learned how to add controls to pages in Lesson 1.15. Next, add 3 ASP.NET button controls to the page. Now you're going to set the text properties of the 3 button controls. Select the first button control and set its text property to Monday. Now select the second button control and set its text property to Tuesday. And set the text property of the third button to Wednesday. At the moment, you have button controls that say Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday on them. But their ID properties still say Button 1, Button 2, and Button 3. Although you could work with them this way, it would be very confusing when you looked at the code, as you'd have no idea which button was which without checking the page. To fix this, you'll need to set their ID properties to something meaningful. Select the Monday button and set its ID property to Button Monday. Then set the ID property of the second button to Button Tuesday, and set the ID property of the third button to Button Wednesday. Before continuing, let's also set the ID property of the label control. When setting ID properties, this course always uses the convention control type followed by name, which is always in mixed case. Using this convention, it's always easy to understand which type of control the code is working with and what the control does. Set the ID property of the label control now to Label Day. Next, add a click event handler to the Button Monday control. You learned how to do this in Lesson 3.2. The easiest way to do this is just to double-click on the Monday button. Now simply type Button. The IntelliSense menu appears. Because you named all of your buttons properly, you can see all of them listed together in the IntelliSense menu at a glance. Along with Button Monday, Button Tuesday, and Button Wednesday, you will notice a lot of other entries in the IntelliSense menu that begin with Button. These are all objects from the .NET framework. The one that's simply called Button is in fact the control that is added when you drag and drop a button control onto the page. These items are appearing because of the lines at the top of the code behind file that start with using. You'll learn more about the using lines in lesson 6.3. Now delete the button text that you just added and type label. The IntelliSense menu appears again, and you can see that your Label Day control is listed. Now choose Label Day by double-clicking on it in the IntelliSense menu. Alternatively, you can scroll down to it using the arrow keys and press Enter. You'll learn more about the IntelliSense menu in lesson 5.1. Now finish the line of code by typing .text equals Monday. With this code, you can see at a glance that the Button Monday control will set the Label Day control's text property to Monday when it is clicked. If you hadn't named your controls appropriately, here is how the code would have looked. As you can see, by naming your controls, you have made your code a lot easier to understand and work with. Some programmers prefer to use different naming standards to the ones used in this course. This course uses mixed case when setting the names of controls and other objects, because that is the standard set by the .NET framework. If you look at the objects in the IntelliSense menu, you will see that they are all named using mixed case. Staying consistent with this makes your C# code easier to work with. Close Visual Studio now, saving your changes if prompted. You've now completed Lesson 4.1. Name controls correctly.